That's correct. That's correct. And again, the ordinary, primary means of salvation is through the church. And that means the sacraments: baptism, confirmation, Eucharist, holy orders, etc. That's the ordinary way of salvation. That's why we have to spread the good news around the earth. We have to tell everyone about that because that's the more common, if you will, easy way of getting into heaven. But can God save someone outside of that? Absolutely. Proof? He saved the thief on the cross, did he not?
Yeah.
Didn't he say he was going to heaven with him? Yes, he did. Was he baptized?
No.
Did he ever receive the Eucharist?
No.
No. Did he go to confession?
No.
No. But did Jesus save his soul because he cried out in mercy?
Yes.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. But is that the ordinary way he saves people?
No.
No. The ordinary way he saves people is through his sacrament known as the church. It's a mega sacrament, if you will. Okay? Because it's the way, it's the ark, it's properly called, or it's been analogized to the ark, the one that saved Noah and his family. The ordinary way that you survived the flood was by being in the ark with Noah. Could God have saved you otherwise? Yes, I suppose he could have. He didn't, but I suppose he could have. God can do whatever he wants. Stop trying to limit God. It just kind of cracks me up to hear some of these theologians that I read just get all in a twist over, well, it doesn't say that exactly. And I'm like, you know what? Take a pill. I mean, really, take a pill. You know? I mean, I had this conversation with one of the young adults, actually, when we were at the Catholic conference. And I was talking about, you know, I've read some of these theologians for my master's program, and I'm telling you, it's like, if it doesn't explicitly state it, then it's all up for grabs. And I'm like, really? Is that how we're going to live? Is that how we're going to live? It's like, I don't think so. I think there's something that we just have to have a little faith and common sense about some things. And this was in the context of our conversation was, is the church's magisterium like a notary? You know, rubber stamping, this is infallible, this is not, and when it says it's infallible, we have to follow it because we know it's infallible, but if it doesn't do that, then it's up for grabs. We can play with it, we can bend with it, it's not an infallible statement, so it could be whatever we want. And I said to him, I said, really? I said, I've got news for you. The Holy Father has never approved of the Ten Commandments. Never. Are we to say, well, the Ten Commandments are up for grabs because it's never been an infallibly made statement that we need to follow them? You see how stupid that is? I mean, that's just stupid. You know? What it is, in this reporter's opinion, it's an attempt by some theologians to try and weasel and worm around God's laws in order to justify their own agendas. It has nothing to do with really seeking the truth or understanding the revelation that God's given us. I think it has a lot to do with human nature as it is, and we will try to worm and weasel around whatever we can. And justify saying, well, you didn't say, you couldn't do. Like, really? You know? So anyway, I don't know where I went off on that, but it just kind of cracks me up to hear some of these people talk, and it's like, who are you and why are you doing this? What is your motive? What is your motive? I don't get it. I really don't. I wish someone would just tell me why. And it's like, well, we're trying to seek the truth. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not seeking the truth. Truth has been revealed for 2,000 years, has been lived out in the church and the lives of the saints. And you're telling me that you know better than them? That somehow you found some way to worm around that so that you can justify your own way of life? That the church has never approved of in all of its history? Just because it's never been infallibly taught from a council or a pope? It's ridiculous. You know? Is adultery up for grabs? Because thou shalt not commit adultery was never approved by a church council or an infallible statement by a pope. I think we should commit adultery now. Well, it's up for grabs. No, it's not. It's ridiculous. This is part of what I think is sowing the seeds of doubt and unbelief and confusion in the church today. And what we need to do, my brothers and sisters, is get a copy of this and read it, and a copy of that catechism and read it, and that way we will know what is true and what is not. Because as the days get darker, I'm telling you, the more that this is going to be an issue. And unless you know what is true and what is not, you are in danger of being deceived. It's as simple as that. And all throughout the scriptures, Paul tells them, do not be deceived, my brethren. Do not be deceived. Don't get flim-flammed by fast-talking, smooth-talking, highfalutin people that think that they have, just because they have vegetable soup after their name, that they are somebody important. Okay? By their fruits you shall know them. Okay? So don't be deceived, my brethren. All right. So we have these three angels. One with the gospel. Notice the gospel always comes first. What can we pull from this statement? This section? One, that there's a contrast between the worship on earth of the beast and the worship in heaven of the Lamb. So that contrast is made clear. What camp are you in is the question it's saying. Second, the three messages of the angels. The first is the gospel for all people. Fear God, give him glory, because he made the whole universe. Second, Babylon is over, it's fallen. Third, anyone who worships the beast and its image is doomed, which is a negative way of saying the first message. What do you mean? Well, the first message was what? Fear God and give him glory. What's the opposite of that? If you decide to go your own way and worship anything else, you're doomed. You see that? It's really two sides of the same coin. All right? Verse 12. Here is a call for the endurance of the saints, those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. We heard that before. When? At the end of chapter 12. If you have my Bible, you can just go straight across and connect them. The dragon was angry with the woman, went off to make war with the rest of her offspring, those who keep the commandments of God and bear the testimony of Jesus. You see that? These are connected. The phrases are almost identical. So the patient endurance of the saints are those who follow and keep the commandments of God and bear the testimony of Jesus. And who are they? Those are the offspring of the woman. Okay. Verse 13. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, right, blessed, here's one of those blessings I was telling you about. Blessed are the dead who from now on die in the Lord. Blessed indeed, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, for their deeds follow them. Did you hear that? What follows them? Not their faith. Did you hear that? Their deeds, what you've done. Their actions which speak greater than their words. We don't need to go down that road again, I hope. The Bible is very clear about this in 1 John and in James. You say you love God, then you show it by how you live. This is the message of the book of Revelation. You bear the name of Christ, then you act like it. Simple as that. Okay? Amen? Amen? See, that's a very clear distinction of the people of God and those that don't follow God. Those who are of the lineage of the woman and her offspring, and those who are the lineage of the dragon and his offspring. Because by their fruits, by their deeds, you will know them. It's not what they say. The devils have better theology than all of us in this room. The devils, the demons, know God in a more theological way than any of us do. I know that. You know why? They face God. They know what he is like, face to face. We have never experienced that. They have a knowledge that we will not have, not this side of heaven. They have a better theology than any of us, I guarantee you. They know the Bible better than anyone in this room. I know that. Because they're the supreme, powerful beings. Now their minds are so darkened because of sin that they are now just creatures of rage. But they have a theology that's greater than all of us. Does that mean anything to them? No. Because they don't obey him. They don't love him. You see that? So knowledge is not enough. Faith, expressing your faith, is incomplete. It needs to accompany what you do. Okay? 1 John says, you want me to show my faith in what I say, I will show my faith in what I do. If you see a brother in need and do not help him, what good is your faith? Okay? So the faith that we express is in the love and deeds of mercy that we show to others and to God. We're back to prayer, fasting, almsgiving. That's how we show love to God. And how do we show love to neighbor? Feed the hungry, clothe the naked, give drink to those who need it. Pray for the living and the dead, the spiritual and corporal works of mercy. Okay? And if you need more of that grace in your life, I would strongly suggest you pray the Chaplet of Mercy. That's a good way to inculcate the mercy of God in your life. Pray for that. Prayer alone is an act of mercy for yourself and others. If you can do nothing else, if you're bedridden, if you're paralyzed, if you're in a bed of pain, you can still pray for others. It's the very least any of us can do, I would say. You hear what I'm saying? So it's like we are that, we need to be that light in this dark world. If we're not, then we're good for nothing. And he's like, well, that's pretty strong, Chip. That's not my words, that's Jesus' words. You don't take a light and put it under a bushel. What happens if salt loses its saltiness? What good is it? Trample over it. It's no good. If it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, it's useless. Okay? Jesus on more than one occasion said, I am the vine and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that bears fruit, he trims and prunes so it bears more fruit. But the branches in me that don't bear fruit, he cuts off. Cuts off. Okay? So we need to bear this fruit. We need to bear the name of God. So praying the Our Father helps incorporate or inculcate that in us.
I just want to say that
sure.
ECQ 31, they say that people come to hear the gospel, but they don't put it in practice. It's just like they say love on the lips, but their heart is greedy for unjust gain.
Yes. Yes.
And you look to, they listen to the gospel that they think like a love song, and the thing like you play a good instrument, but they don't put in practice.
And so we need to be people that show the love of God. Just show it. Just do it. And you'll be amazed what will happen. When you show people love, it will change the world. I know that because I've seen the lives of the saints. All they did was love. All they did was love. And it wasn't their own power. It was God's love through them. And that's what made them extraordinary men and women. Let's keep reading. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and seated on the cloud one like the Son of Man, with a golden crown on his head and a sharp sickle in his hand. And another angel came out of the temple, calling out with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, "Put your sickle and reap, for the hour to reap has come, for the harvest of the earth is fully ripe." So he who sat upon the cloud swung his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. Another angel came out of the temple of heaven, and he too had a sharp sickle. Then another angel came out from the altar, and the angel who has power over fire. And he called with a loud voice to him who had the sharp sickle, put in your sickle and gather the cluster of the vines of the earth, for its grapes are ripe. So the angel swung his sickle on the earth and gathered the vintage of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and the blood flowed from the winepress as high as the horse's bridle for 1,600 stadia. And if you have my Bible, you'll see a translation of that into modern reckonings is about 200 miles. Or basically the distance, if I'm not mistaken, from the Sea of Galilee to the Sea of to the Dead Sea. I believe that's a 200-mile stretch. Up to the horse's bridle. So you think, pretty big, this river of blood. Okay? Now,